Man, we got to do this show again.
Here we go, TK.
Holy smokes.
I know, but
What is
today
it?
I feel like there's so much to talk about.
Every week we got to talk about real estate. Like, isn't there anything else to talk about?
Week. There's
Isn't there
so
a
much
week
more to
off?
talk about, but this is the Canadian real estate show, TK. We have to try and
off?
kind of stay on topic.
Man.
But I'll tell you, it's going to be
Yeah.
super hard for me to stay on topic today with all the stuff going on in the
When are
world
the Blue
right
Jays
now.
going to start playing again? You know, like that's what we need.
What are you
right?
talking about, bro? They just started.
There you
won.
go. See? Perfect.
They won their first game.
Did they win their first game?
Yeah, it was crazy. They almost lost. They were winning, then they were losing, then they were winning, then they were losing,
Epic.
and then they won.
Epic home opener. Was it a
Beautiful.
home opener or no? Can't be
No
a
home opener. No, not for like another 2 weeks.
Okay. That's when I start to notice that the Blue Jays are playing again.
That's
Everyone's
right.
walking around with a blue cap on.
I got tickets, baby. I got lots
you
and
do.
lots of tickets,
you do.
baby.
Baseball
I'm
crazy.
excited.
Yeah.
Holy, and the seats I have. TK, wait, we're gonna go. We'll do a show from the seats.
100%. We're in. We'll talk about it at lunch next week.
Yeah.
Cool.
TK,
What do we got on the plate today?
there's so much going on today. We got a wonderful guest coming up soon. We have like the world is just going crazy. The
You love it.
bricks. Did we talk
love
about
it.
the bricks last
You
week? I've been
mentioned it.
talking about the
You
bricks all
mentioned it.
week.
I dropped
man.
in a few research points into it.
Steve didn't know what I was talking about, and he was
Neither did I.
grateful for it. You didn't
Yeah.
know, but do you know now? Have you
I
heard
know enough
anything?
now to at least
Know enough
converse about it with you.
This is some interesting times, TK. There's going to be
Mm.
another option to use on the world stage, it looks like.
There
to
always
do
has
trade.
been. I think I'm not
Oh,
in the same boat as
please.
you yet, but that changes. I've
Who the
not been
hell
in your
deals-
boat, and then eventually I end up in your boat. So
Have
right
you-
now I'm just not there.
Have you ever bought something in rubles?
Never.
Have you ever bought something in yuan?
I have bought in.
You've bought stuff in
yuan.
yuan, like when you were there. How do you say it? Yen?
No.
Yuan, isn't it?
Well, they always say yuan on the English, but it's
Yuan?
pronounced like yuan. Yuan is the proper
Yuan.
pronunciation.
So, anyways, whatever the hell that thing's called,
Yeah.
get used to using it a bit more, bro.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
whatever. I'm okay.
I know you
Like,
don't know.
This
This is why you have me. This is why everybody's
I will
got me
use
here.
whatever currency I need to, but you know,
That's
at the end of the
right,
day,
that's right.
pretty sure they just convert things in the
Okay.
interweb when I'm buying.
That's
stuff.
right.
Like,
When the-
what am I really? How much money am I really spending online?
Well, if you know, then you got to think that this is
Mhm.
going to have some kind of an impact somewhere along the lines, and it
Somewhere.
will affect us here in Canada. That's
Mm.
for damn sure. But like we do have this,
We'll talk
and
about it.
and it's like there's articles. A new world order. BRICS nation offers alternative to the West, and you got BRICS looking at basing financial reserves on a basket of their own currencies. Did you see? Did you see the video of the Kenyan president?
Yeah,
Did you really?
I saw the video. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you got that video circulating out there, which is crazy. The guy's like,
Yeah.
if you're holding on to US dollars, like you may want to
I'm warning you.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
because things are going to be different in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
So,
very crazy. A couple weeks, all of a sudden, things are
couple
going to
of
change.
weeks, but
Come
they're
on.
changing already. Look
Come
around.
on, I've seen a
man.
lot of Kenyan politicians on
Look
on
around.
social media, and they don't always have the
A
the
lot of
best,
Kenyans.
opinions.
What? A lot
the
of
politicians. Yeah.
a lot of Kenyan politicians are on
Yeah,
social
they've
media.
circulated a few different
Some
topics. We won't
propaganda.
get into that.
There's
but
propaganda all over the place. Okay, so hold on a sec. So there's that. There's like, have you seen like the revolutions going on in France and Israel right now? So
Yeah.
the world's just in an upheaval, and this is going to have some kind of ramifications, I'm sure.
I think it's all
And
bullish for Canada, though.
I think maybe it's bullish for Canada, but we'll get into that.
Bearish for
with
the
our
US,
guest,
though.
for sure. I don't know.
Bearish.
The US is going to be
Done.
fucked.
They're
man.
gonna get
Like,
hurt.
something is so it's because okay, so do you know like Saudi Arabia apparently is like thinking about joining this BRICS idea, right? And
Yeah.
so what they're saying, and I mean it makes sense, is right now the US dollar is tied to Saudi Arabia. Basically it's tied to their oil, right?
Mhm.
And if they decide, you know, we're no longer going to just sell our oil in dollars, now you can, you know, you have another option if you want to settle
Sure.
your accounts.
Yeah.
That's going to change things like instantly, because now they're not. No, you don't think so?
I think for some, but I think like a bunch of people
some?
holding US
Like
dollars are going to
Americans?
say, well, what am I supposed to do with all these US dollars? I better go buy some oil with them. As
Why
opposed to saying,
oil?
I'm going to go and convert to the yuan, and then I'm going to go and get. It just doesn't. I'm not there yet. I'm not there.
You're not
yet.
there yet. Okay,
No,
so
but I
maybe we'll
see-
get you there by
One,
the end of the show.
I think that
TK.
it's necessary. I think that the US has had a real strong grip on the world economy for too long for a very good reason. And now I think that when they have all these like Biden videos circulating, and then obviously Trump, like they've really had a poor last decade.
I can't even believe I didn't
George
bring that
W.
up.
Like they've really screwed things up lately on their leadership. And so I really believe that there's going to be a loss of power. I think China is the newest superpower. I'm 100% like, there's no stopping China. They've been planning this for a long time, and their government is working towards that. And it's in unison because of its communist country. No one really gets to oppose what the government wants to do. So they're pushing forward with this pro-China plan. So I'm 100% behind you that there's change coming.
Big.
It's just really hard to picture the entire world jumping on board.
No, and that's not what I'm saying. It's not the entire world. It's like now there's another option.
Absolutely. There's a chunk of the market. We've got competition now, and I'm pro competition, and that the monopoly of the US dollar may be soon to be over. 100%.
I love it. But what happens here? So we're going to get into that when we bring our guest on. So what happens here from all that? But TK, now is a perfect time. If you haven't already, right, TK? Like, we need more subscribers on this channel. Seriously. We're not doing this for nothing, guys. Like, seriously, this thing has to grow at some point, for Christ's sake.
To get new cameras and microphones.
We just need, we have needs, TK. We have needs. And you need to do us a favor and subscribe right now, or hit the like button, make a comment. Hey, share. We never asked anybody to share a video. Share that too. Actually, no, today I'm going to ask for something new.
Go on to a podcast channel and go and write us a review. Because
what if you're
we've
already
got a lot
on
of listeners with the video. We got a lot of listeners for the audio, but definitely a lot more on the video than the audio. It's close, but we want more audio. So go and check that out. If you're listening on the audio, come over to YouTube, drop us a like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate that too.
Yeah. And then if you got a shorter attention span, don't forget about the Canadian Real Estate Show Clips channel. That thing is on fire. Like that thing, right, a lot of views, but not too many subs, but that's okay. We're okay with that. But yeah, check that out. And then of course, TK, don't forget the Frankfurt Report. Gaining a lot of traction on Twitter right now. That's
the real Canadian real estate show. We're a lot of fluff on this episode, but if you want the real,
we focus on real estate here.
You go to the Frankfurt Report.
If you want insight into what's inside this,
you're gonna get
this crazy.
You're gonna get a lot of good stuff out of it.
You get some interesting stuff over there. That's for sure. So we've got all of that. TK, what else we got going on? We're gonna talk about the foreign buyer reversal, the reversal on the ban. We're going to talk about the open offers a little bit more. A little bit more of those open offers a little bit later. But yeah, foreign buyer reversal. We have a wonderful guest, TK.
Let's get her on, man. I'm tired of waiting.
Here we go.
She's tired of waiting.
She's probably tired of waiting.
Yeah. Let's get her on.
But TK, I mean, we're becoming worth waiting for.
I don't know about that, Daryl. I just want to get on with the show, you know?
That's what my mom said.
That's your mom said? Yeah, my mom says some good things too.
TK decided to take a little break. No, it's not you. TK decided to break the seventh wall. What's it called? Third wall? Fourth wall?
Fourth wall? I don't know.
Fourth
wall?
What does that mean? TK, come on. What? Like, get with it.
I'm not in, Kaitlyn, I try my best. I try to stay, in with the times, but it's a struggle. I can't keep up with things,
TK's getting old. TK's getting old. That's why we have.
I got a good filter on today. I got a good filter.
I'm a millennial and I feel old already.
Nice.
You're a millennial and you feel old. Mature. Yeah, it's been a tough run for you millennials. It's like crisis after crisis after crisis after crisis. Like, what the hell? How do you guys navigate this thing?
We just get the bad end of the stick every single time.
It feels like that, doesn't it?
I think on the tail end, though, something good's coming. The millennials.
I hope so.
You feel like something good's coming? You feel like something good's coming, or do you feel like there's another tsunami coming?
I feel like it's a shitstorm waiting to happen.
Another shitstorm.
Ouch.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, tell us.
Let's do a little introduction first, Kaitlyn. So,
sure.
You're a realtor. You're working in Toronto. You're big on social media. You're out there tracking down listings and finding unique properties, putting yourself out there and gaining lots of traction. What company do you work for?
I'm at Right at Home.
Okay. And what area of the city are you mostly working in?
Downtown Toronto, but also throughout GTA. Mostly York region, but have dabbled in Peel and Durham as well, but prefer to focus in on York region and Toronto Central.
And so clients downtown Toronto, like, who are these clients downtown Toronto? Are they young people? Are they investors? Are they who are the people downtown?
Both. I've got first-time home buyers, a bunch of those. I've got a lot of upsizers who are actually wanting to opt in and stay into the city, you know, versus going out and buying a detached in the GTA. They'd rather, you know, take something a little bit smaller and get into a town or a semi, still within proximity to the city. And I've got a big investor group. They've bought a lot in downtown Toronto. I dabbled into the pre-con space quite a bit over the last 2 years. Obviously, I have a lot to say about that area as well. But
Oh boy,
yeah,
dabbling quite a bit in
We
the
wanna
last
hear about
couple of
it.
years. That's
Yeah.
gonna be some stories. Let's make sure we go back to that.
Yeah, but I mean, there's investors or slash speculators, whatever you want to call them, who do believe, you know, in the bullish Toronto condo market. So they're out there.
Are they
Obviously,
local or are they from another country?
most of them are actually Canadian. Yes, you could call them non-local. It depends, but by status, yes, they are
They're
all
local.
local.
Yeah.
By
Yep.
status there. Okay, so
Very
got
few
it.
times is if somebody who is like not a resident in Canada investing in Canada. Like I know we've done the studies,
Correct.
and the last one obviously was like the 2017 market where they were saying it's like, I don't know, 3 to 5% or whatever. But I look at the offers. So when I get all the offers, I look, you know, where's this guy? Where's this guy? They're all Canadians. They're all people
Yeah.
who are here one way or another. Nobody's like, hold on, my clients in India, and you know, there's a time zone difference, and I need the irrevocable to, like, that never happens. You know, they might be on vacation or something, but it's never
Exactly.
like a foreign like entity, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did you hear about the new changes in the foreign buyer tax? It was announced this week. Or not
Yeah.
tax, a ban, sorry.
The
Ban.
amendments. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have, you know, speaking of which, to this point exactly, I mean, I just picked up a client who is foreign, is on work permit and just desperate wanted to buy. But then the ban kicked in, right? Jan 1st. And then now that the amendment just happened, you know, we're looking into it with the immigration lawyer and the lawyers to see, you know, can she buy right now? Because she would. And I think this sentiment is kind of something that I hear, you know, which is different and offsetting from what you hear mostly on Twitter, which is a pretty bearish space, in my opinion. But, you know, there are immigrants coming here with money. I think that is, you know, a fact. It may not be the volume of immigrants, maybe, but there are a handful or, you know, a bucket of these immigrants who can come here and just purchase a property in
Enough to
cash.
buy the current inventory levels, right?
Right, exactly. And so, I mean, I'm always shocked myself, right? When someone comes in there and offers, you know, cash up front and are ready to go on day one. So
I just want to make sure that our
demand.
listeners and viewers get the most out of the show, because I think you're a smart girl and I want people to know you also are a CPA.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give us that. Let's just want
Okay.
to start there before we go any further. So
Sure.
everyone's like,
Yeah,
we're
sure,
just talking to the everyday realtor here. So give us the
So
There's
background on that.
layers. There's layers here.
there are layers. Yes, peel them back. You know, as in the Shrek movie. So yeah, I started out in the traditional audit accounting route. I worked in mid-size, which I think was beneficial to me because we did a lot of corporate tax, estate planning, personal tax, huge benefit. And then also my dad is a accountant as well. So it wasn't anything in terms of inspiration to me. It was more like I graduated B school not knowing what I wanted to do, got my CA, and then decided, you know, after working in corporate and then in tech finance, which is a whirlwind as well. You know, I've always loved real estate. I've loved everything about it. I love the product. I love how it's so tied to a lot of macro economic things. And I also love that, you know, as being a real estate salesperson, it's, you know, a complete 180 from what I was doing before, sitting at a desk, 9 to 5, more like 7 to 9 every day, and just crunching numbers. And I think a lot of people forget that real estate, there's a lot of numbers to real estate, right?
Of
And
numbers.
we both know that. We all know that, right? Here, like
we both know that. I don't know about TK, but we both know.
Emotion. I'm all emotion. I'm hard on my sleeve.
Yeah. And then I think the biggest learning actually factor to me being as a salesperson now is that with this career, exactly that, TK. It's an emotion game. It's a psychological game. There's so much to the human brain that you just can't explain.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's so many studies that we can do, but at the end of the day, if someone's gonna make a decision just purely on emotion, that's something that we can't analyze.
No, and
So
as a
just
realtor, more often than not, we don't want to, right? Because it's like,
exactly,
hey, all
exactly.
right, buy it, no problem. I tried to warn them, you know, like, hey, all right, my
So
check.
just
When
to
can I
kind
get
of
my?
like, I'm just qualifying you here. Okay. So,
When can I get
you
my
know,
check?
you went to school, you
Yeah,
followed in your dad's footsteps, you became an accountant, you were working corporate and like you said, tech and doing other things. This is
yeah,
obviously not like they don't just start allowing anybody to work in here. There's a lot of qualifications that need to be met. You chose to go into real estate. That was where your
yeah.
passion lied. And now you're out there
How?
helping
Why
people.
though? What was the allure? What
Why?
got you? Was it TikTok? Did they make it seem like it was so easy? No, I'm being serious. Like, was there this allure of this easy job and quick money?
No,
Okay, yeah.
no. I mean, like you said, like I have a lot of common sense and logic, and I think a lot of realtors who fall into that allure of that this career and this job is easy is,
They're
completely
dropping like
incorrect.
flies right
Yeah,
now.
they're dropping like flies. Yeah, it's, this is, I'm here for the long haul. How I guess I got interested in it, my dad did buy a couple pre-cons like in I guess the last decade or so. I've seen him go through the bad and the good. Like he was telling me stories about how he owned a downtown Toronto condo in the late 80s and how he barely, I think he lost money on
Yikes.
it, right?
Yeah.
He was struggling. It was a struggle. So I've seen the cycle, like I've heard about the cycle, obviously. I won't expose my age, but I wasn't alive and part of those. But I just think for me it was COVID actually that kind of pushed me to do it. I think I've always just, loved the product, I would say. And I just wanted to make a complete career switch. And I've always been more of a interpersonal, social, outgoing, big network kind of person. And
That doesn't go
going through
with an
COVID.
accountant, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I was sitting at my desk every day just getting crushed in tech finance. And, I just woke up one day being like, enough is enough. Like,
That's great.
um, yeah, I want to take the risk, like obviously coming from, a pretty great
Good
salary. Like,
salary. Yeah. I was just
yeah,
thinking
it was,
that.
it was,
Yeah.
it was hard to leave.
Comfortable,
Yep,
easy,
yep,
know
yep,
what's coming
exactly.
in every 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, oh
Hard
yeah.
to leave
Sometimes I
that.
miss it.
Yeah. Yes, for
But the
sure.
thing also, what I can
Of
say
course.
now is that
Sometimes I miss it. Yeah.
yeah, sometimes I do miss that steady cash flow, that's for sure.
For
But
sure.
having my background, I can plan around that easily. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Which
just
is which is important, as you
go
can
for it.
tell, right? And
Yes,
one of the things that I think leads a lot of realtors down the wrong road is
for
that
sure.
sort of like excitement where I made all this money one month, and so now I'm going to go and buy a Lamborghini and renovate my house and
Yeah,
get 3 new suits, and then the next month you don't make
yeah,
any sales, and you go, oh, what do I do now, right?
yeah,
So I think
exactly.
that's
Yeah,
a really strong. I think that would be more important because in order to continue to market, continue to excel, continue to grow your business, you have to have the budget to be able to support that. So like recently you've started this real estate career, right? It's not like
yeah.
10 years ago. This is all recent.
No,
But
yeah,
you're already out there. You're already doing well. You're getting onto social. I think social media, like, man, is it underused. Like, I really think you have
yeah.
no competition with amongst real estate people in the social media space. Might seem like there's a lot of people on there, but they're not consistent. Maybe they don't know what they're talking about. And if you just play the long game and you get involved and you post and you do the things and you're steady, there is just so much business for people on social media to be able to be had, you know?
Totally. And I honestly, actually, at first, in my first year, I never really understood that. And I never actually wanted to be kind of, that social media realtor. And not to say I am even close to that. But, I've seen some realtors on there who actually really inspire me in terms of trying to change the conversation around real estate, trying to educate, the people, the clients, the customers out there about how this industry works, what could go wrong, how to do it right, how to do it ethically. I think that's a big piece that's missing in the educational piece of like, how do we help, people not get into the situation where we're starting to see now in terms of, maybe bad investments. Of course, we can never say what's, good and bad and trying to time the market and whatnot, but just how to educate them on how transactions work, and not put anyone in that situation ever. So that's kind of my approach to social media. Is I don't really care about all that fancy TikTok, showings and videos and fancy marketing. I'm just out there trying to educate as much as possible. It's hard to find the time, honestly. It's just not really my personality. Obviously, me being, sitting at the computer, crunching the numbers, doing the research more than, focusing on that social media piece. But yeah, I totally agree with you, TK. It's a huge tool that people can leverage in every business. And I didn't understand the power of that until, I did start getting a couple leads, or I speak to other realtors who have closed, $2 million deals that they've gotten from TikTok or Twitter, right? Like it's just crazy.
Okay,
So
so
yeah.
hold on a sec. So she's smart. She's younger. She's been through hell because she's a millennial. She, at the beginning of the show, said that she sees a shit storm coming. TK, let's get into the juicy, exciting stuff. Okay. Why does someone from your perspective feel that way? What do you see coming and why?
Okay, I don't want to make any predictions on the market per se, but in general, I feel the sentiment of being a young person in Toronto. It's getting tougher and tougher. I just feel that just around, my circle and just seeing social media. It's, everything is unaffordable. When it comes to housing, even my clients who are, within that top 1% of our age group, they're the only ones that can afford it. And even still, they're having issues affording it. Most of the time, the first time home buyers, whether people want to believe it or don't want to believe it, most of that down payment is a parent's gift, or they've been saving for a really, really, really long time. It's just so hard at these prices to come up with that down payment in cash in today's day and age. And me, a millennial who is in the real estate market already, I feel for my generation, the generations to come, because I just don't see how on paper in an Excel spreadsheet at certain income levels, how you can possibly afford owning a home going forward. It's the future has got to be living in small spaces, condos, which I think we as a society in Canada and the US maybe are not so prone to. But if you look at other parts of the world, like that's very common, right? To grow up in a duplex, to grow up in a condo. We're just so used to this American Canadian dream of owning that big white picket fence house, 2-car garage, massive lawn. So I don't know. I just feel like with everything going on with the safety of TTC right now, transportation, all the grocery costs, it does feel like when you walk the streets that, people are struggling and hurting. But then you go to a financial district on a Wednesday night and it's packed. You go to a restaurant on the weekend, it's still packed, and everyone's calling for the recession, obviously. And it's hard to see if it's actually happening. Are people overspending? Are people, over leveraging themselves, putting themselves in more of a hole?
Yeah, what the hell are people doing right now? Because we have a friend, she came over last night and she was saying that when she goes downtown, she doesn't feel comfortable anymore. And she's like, feels like she's got to like clutch her bag and like, everybody, she called everybody zombies. And I was like, whoa, like, I mean, I haven't been downtown, walking around for a little while, but like, it hasn't been, I don't think the zombie apocalypse is on us, but I mean, you're right. There's like this kind of duality going on where like you're starting to feel like there's like not even pain financially, but like unrest all over the place. Like people are getting kind of nutty all over the place, and like weird stories and lots of violence and lots more crime. But meanwhile, like go to the theater, go to a movie, go to a dinner, like go to a gym, like go anywhere that it costs money to get into, and it is packed, like packed.
Makes no sense, right?
And it's not cheap. Like these are not cheap things to do. These are all well overpriced, horribly, serviced. Like they're not good products. They're just things to do. The food has gotten worse and more expensive. And are we all just so desperate to go out and do stuff?
Yeah.
Like, are we bored? Like, what's going on? And I mean, is it just to get away from all the news right now? Like I keep trying to draw us back into it because we don't talk about these major things enough, but like there's major stuff going on the planet right now, right? Like major.
Yeah. Oh
I mean,
yeah.
don't even mention the war in
Like I was just
Ukraine
gonna say
anymore.
Ukraine.
It's just
like
swept under the rug now, you know?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
and it's escalating to a point like where both sides are admittedly coming out of the woodwork, where like China's like, yeah, we're supplying stuff to Russia now. And the United States is like, well, yeah, I mean, hey, nobody's fooled that we're not behind the whole Ukraine thing, right? So it's like, and now people are starting to go like, oh, maybe China's going to be a little bit more comfortable to take Taiwan because of this whole BRICS conversation. Now it's like, okay, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like, we're taking Taiwan. No, but this is what's going on, right? Like they have actually, like I used to be in furniture and we used to marvel at these buying groups, these gigantic buying groups that had so much leverage with buying power because they bought so many sofas, so many beds, so many mattresses that their costs were so low. Well, the BRICS nations with all these humans and all these resources just said like, okay, there's like 4 billion of us, and we have like basically all the resources that you guys have been robbing from us for forever, including Saudi Arabia and Mexico. Like, I don't know if people really understand the magnitude of this shift that we're going to live through now and what ramifications it will have on us living through this. And I know I see TK smirking, but like, this is not nothing. I don't think.
I'm crazy. I don't think that it's nothing. I just feel like there's it needs to happen, but the amount of impact that it's going to have on the global markets is much less than it should, at least for now, Daryl. That's all I'm thinking. Listen, we could have a total shift. I was saying this before, China's a superpower that's definitely, going to take over eventually. It's very clear that that'll happen. It just could take 100 years. I don't know. But I just don't think like next year we're going to see the US dollar shoot down because, no one needs it anymore. This is something that's going to take a very long time
people
to really realize.
Sure.
And so that's why I'm kind of like, I don't really need to worry about it right now.
But you don't think like valuations all of a sudden will change, like stock markets will crash, and that what will bring like mass unemployment and like not normal levels. And like, let's combine it with anybody on the show right now not use Chat GPT for something? Like honestly like I'm using it all the time.
Kaitlyn, do you use it for anything? Or like
no,
testing
I
it, anything?
Use it. Yeah,
what is going on? Really?
I mean, I obviously beta
better
tested
get
this,
on
like,
it. Yeah,
okay,
you better learn it quicker. You'll be out of a job.
That's all I've done.
Exactly.
I haven't really used it, but I've definitely just checked it out.
Guaranteed.
My current client just used it to draft a letter to his landlord. And I was like,
well, as long as it doesn't do a job letter.
That's such an intelligent sounding letter, right?
Yeah, totally. We should leverage it for sure.
But I'm not kidding. Like this is going to wipe out so many jobs, and like on top of them all going to other countries already. Now it's like not even going to other countries for cheaper. It's like type in a few sentences and there goes somebody's job.
And we thought, Daryl, because we've been talking about this for a while, Kaitlyn, we've been doing our show since June 2020. So every week we've been doing our show, and we've started with, because Daryl's been very vocal about this on how automation is going to, take over a lot of different industries. And I think we were very focused on the robotic side, the physical labor jobs, right? Like that's been sort of like
our software.
But it's been mostly around,
not
Tesla
AI though,
and autonomous vehicles and all these different things that we've been really seeing,
warehousing and stuff.
But AI on the software side is really way bigger of a threat towards jobs, right? Because there's so many safety concerns with the robotic side that it's going to take a long time to really perfect that. And then it's also like extremely capital intense, right? In order to be able to produce all this type of stuff. But literally the AI, there's like a bunch of people in a basement somewhere, which is an
Well,
exaggeration, making sure that, you know, this software can change certain industries. And
no, but it's
I
actually
definitely see that
very
that's
capital intensive, the AI, because it's running on
nowhere near what
so
the
much.
robotics would be.
They had to sell half the company for $10 billion. They had enough
nothing.
compute power to
Yeah.
run the damn thing. No,
I
these
know, but
things
you need
cost
like
a lot.
multiple trillion-dollar companies in order to be able to run a successful.
Oh yeah, yeah. You
you
can't
know,
be small. Yeah,
yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. But these things, so all this stuff happening simultaneously, right? Like, can it be okay? Maybe in the short term, it could be bullish for Canada, but can this actually be a bullish trend that continues? That sounds like a whole lot of people walking around with nothing to do all day. And generally people walking around with nothing to do all day,
Let's
if they
ask
have
Kaitlyn.
any
She
money.
worked in corporate accounting. Okay. What are the type of jobs that most people have in Canada? Are they the tech job? Like, I know we have a lot of tech jobs, but like, do we really have that many jobs that are going to be replaced by AI, or is it just like a
well, I'm thinking
fraction of it?
like you guys said, like labor, right? Physical labor.
Oh yeah.
That's got to be first to go.
Wait
Customer
till
service,
McDonald's. Wait till McDonald's
yeah,
automates. Watch
McDonald's,
how many
yeah.
jobs get lost there.
I'm
Yeah,
selling a
like
business right now that has a burger. Like, you don't have to flip the burgers, right? And the guy paid
like a
$22,000 for it.
machine
Apparently,
flips
it's
it for you.
well, I think it
Flippy.
just grills both sides at the same time.
Girls,
Oh.
But
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
have to do anything. You can-
Genius, TK.
you
It's
can-
genius.
all the
Yes.
burger places have it, apparently.
We're
I don't know.
flying to Mars and this thing can fucking
This
fry
thing can
both
flip
sides of a
burgers.
burger.
Is it good? Have you tried it?
They're
Whoa.
fantastic. It's
Does it-
fantastic.
Oh,
It's on
I
Queen
want one
Street.
now.
Queen Street in the
Oh, really?
beaches. It's called Friends Burgers. Go
Okay.
check it out.
No, that guy should
I
have
will.
invested money in a fucking robot that flips the burgers. He get way more people.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you pay
Say-
minimum wage to a kid and he just throws a little ball of meat on the burger and then the thing comes down, it turns it into a patty. Then
You missed
there's
the
a
whole
timer.
point.
You can't screw it up. It's consistent.
The robot, you don't have to pay by the hour, bro. You just buy it.
Kaitlyn,
Way better,
Can accountants
and
be
people
can
will
accountants
stand
be
there and
replaced by
watch.
robots?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think even when I was there, we were starting to get, concerned
QuickBooks.
over.
QuickBooks
Yeah,
killed like the entire bookkeeping industry.
Exactly. Or think about
True.
audit, right? It's just like check marks, right? Like you just scan in
So
financials or
It wasn't
scan
a
in
well thought
data.
out question. Okay,
No, it
next
was a
question.
perfect
Kaitlyn.
question.
Can real estate agents be replaced by robots?
Tough. I was thinking about this. A lot of like kind of
No.
middlemen, people who manage relationships, right? I don't know. Can it?
I
It's
think
a tough
real
one.
estate
I want to know your
jobs.
thoughts. I want to know her
jobs.
thoughts, Darryl. I want to know her thoughts.
I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence.
What would it look like
Regarding-
if it were to happen, and what reasons can you give to support why it can't happen?
Well, I think the reasons to support why it can't happen is that it's a relationship business. Will people be comfortable with either transacting directly on a platform or transacting with a robot as a medium? It's an emotions and relationship business. That's where I can see, maybe realtors and real estate professionals just always holding that strength, right? Because it's just a people business.
Have you met some of these realtors out there?
I've seen the good and the bad, honestly. Yeah. And
lots of
good are
there's some good ones.
There are some good ones.
Somehow they all manage to be on social media, though. It's pretty amazing. All the good ones are on social media.
Only the good ones are on social media.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what could be replaced then on the real estate side? So if somebody were to create a tech, what would be replaced as far as our job?
Let me get a pen.
Yeah, well, I think all the automation with, I guess, like, could you replace a salesperson? I guess you could argue some of those tech platforms try to, right? Like the listing platform that did the public auctions. I forget the tech company name there, but all you have to do is list.
Like the instant offer or, type of things like that, where you just click a button and then it's like, boom, you got an offer on the property.
Your price, and then you could publicly see the prices of everyone else's bid, and then they just close the bid. Yeah. Right. That's one idea. I thought that was actually not a bad idea.
There's a place for it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Can you replace salespeople with the robot? You can probably just replace salespeople with some sort of platform to be the mediator or the medium or the platform to connect buyers and sellers directly. right?
Now,
You could
sometimes
argue
this
that.
happens. Sometimes the seller signs back, right? Like they sign it back at 600, the buyer's like 580, and then the seller's like 600, and then the buyer's like 585, and then the seller's like
Right.
599, and then the buyer says F you, and then I say to the seller, you know, the buyer really appreciates your sign back, and we think you have a great house, but 595 is the best price we can do, and then we have a
Right.
deal. But if
What
the
do I get
robot
to say?
communicates F you to the
Right.
seller because they're just like, well, that's what the buyer wanted me to say,
No,
then
but the
what's
robot
gonna
will be
happen? You're gonna
programmed to
kill the
say,
deal. Yeah.
I'm a language model and I'm not supposed to say fuck you.
Well, he'll say something
I'm
else. He'll
gonna
say
say something
570,
like
then he'll go
this.
down, and then it takes me to say, look, you can't go at 570. Take your emotion out of it. There's, you know, da 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 da. You got to put the
For
deal together.
sure.
So,
Yeah,
anyways,
100%. No,
your
it's
job
in
is safe, Kaitlyn. You're not getting
But does
replaced by
it
a
make
robot.
it? But imagine if you have a platform and you're doing that, you know, back and forth, and it's just a click of a button, right?
pre-con. What does an
Pre-con,
investor in
pre-con,
pre-con need a
gone,
salesperson for?
gone, pre-con, gone.
Yeah,
You watch a
pre-con
video,
gone.
you put VR goggles on, you
Bullpen,
do
yeah,
thing,
VR,
bye,
Gone.
easily gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
We're
Thank
gonna
God.
take care of
I'm
that,
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Kaitlyn.
kidding.
We're gonna take care of that one.
So there's
I'll start
this
writing notes
article
on
that
that.
came out. There's an article that came out, Kaitlyn, this week. It was about two guys in London where they had a "you could do worse" slogan. They got fired from their company, but they were putting out some really creative ads. One of them was said 0 awards earned, you know, no fine
Oh,
print
nice.
needed.
Yeah. Okay.
They had you know, a couple other catchy stuff. Like, what was that movie again where the guy had all those like 007? Remember that movie?
Let's
Anyways.
see. What's the real shirt in here?
So this guy, you could do worse. Look.
Oh, that's
And so they got
hilarious.
their like high school pictures, right? Now they ended up getting fired for this, which to me is crazy. But they basically said since it
Yeah.
happened, they are now
Marketing.
like marketing, right?
Yeah. Genius, honestly.
This is what I'm talking about. Like we talked about this a month
So,
ago.
but you know what happens? So hold on, they got fired for this?
That's what their brokerage fired them. Yeah.
So, but does that mean another brokerage can pick them up?
Of course.
Oh,
They're gonna
what
start their
a
own
bunch
brokerage.
of
Yeah.
They've never been
idiots. What?
bigger.
These
Right?
guys just got listings for sure.
So they
Oh,
only
yeah,
started,
for sure.
Kaitlyn, in COVID. So
We gotta get those
they
guys
just
on
got
the
their
show.
license. Like they
Yeah.
just,
Oh,
you know, a couple
wow.
years. And so
Yeah.
they're going out there, they're putting their neck out and saying, we are, you know, trying to, you know, make a name for himself, which is how you build your brand.
Have
For
And
sure.
you make it, you know, as long as you're ethical and all that kind of stuff, you make it so
For
that
sure.
people remember who you are
These
one
guys
way or
get
another.
fired. You got these bimbos like dressing so provocatively and like looking like
Yeah.
they're all. Are they selling real? What is this? Are they
It's
selling
touched
real
up
estate?
photos
TK,
and all that
what
stuff.
the
Yeah.
hell's going
We know
on
what's
here?
going
What
on
am I?
with that photo.
Right? Like, what am I
You
looking
rarely
at?
hear. Why would you, as a brokerage, like if they're not breaking any RICO rules, right? Like, why would they fire their agent?
Publicity stunt.
Money in
Yeah.
their pocket, right? Like,
Yeah.
What a craziness. So,
Okay,
but what do
okay.
we think
Once
about
we're gonna put this
this?
article out and you're gonna fire me, all right? Yeah, you're gonna fire me. And then and I'm gonna call CBC and say, oh,
Right.
I'm fired. You're gonna get publicity because
I'll pay you
your
half a
brokerage is
point
gonna
in
be mentioned.
perpetuity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be in the news, right? So
Hire me back
Exactly.
next week.
Marketing.
You can hire
Yeah.
us back next week.
so like advice to realtors. So someone's starting out, they just got their
Yeah.
license, they're in their 20s, they're like, man, where do I go from here? What would you tell them?
Do something to make you stand out, like you said. There's just so many of us. How many are there now? Like 70,000 in Ontario?
That's Toronto.
80,000
in
and
Ontario.
one now that my daughter's got it. Yeah.
His daughter just got a license.
There you go. She's the 80,000 and first.
She's
Realtor,
gonna
like-
she's gonna eliminate at least 50% of them. My daughter.
Yeah. Let's do it. Female power.
She can join Kaitlyn's
right.
team when she's ready.
Sure.
Oh, I don't know if I'll have a team, but yeah, new realtors. I think it's people need to realize that it's a grindy business. Like if you're not ready to put your head down and just get to work, this is not the business for you. That's flat out. You know, if you're not a good communicator, if you're not organized, if you're not entrepreneurial, if you can't find a value proposition to make yourself stand out, to make yourself and your business, you know, unique in some way, I just don't think it's the right business for you. But for new guys, like it depends on what you want to do, right? In terms of your marketing, you know, do you want to have a a huge inbound funnel? Do you want to work on your marketing and your digital marketing that way? Do you want to work on referrals? They have to, figure out your strategy first in terms of how you want to get out there with that big fishing net, and reel in your customers and your clients, right? And it's all about service and your professionalism. I think a lot of new realtors, they get out there and they don't ask enough questions, or maybe they don't know how to do the paperwork. That's why I joined my brokerage, is because I actually wanted to do the paperwork. Like, I wanted to be in the mud, in the dirt, because it's like a 180 career change for me, right? I don't want to be going to one of the big guys and having an admin doing my paperwork.
It's unbelievable how poor most realtors' paperwork skills are in the industry. Like the level of APS writing and condition writing is so poor. It's unbelievable. And then you throw these like detail. But then on top of it, you throw these lawyers in that just like change stuff that makes no sense for no reason and use words that like are unnecessary. It's like, I don't know how people figure it out. Like, how does what does a day look like for a new agent? Like, who's actually training you at Right at Home? Like, how does it work when you're starting there?
Okay, so Right at Home, obviously, there's a stigma around all these, discount brokerages. But for me, I kind of knew, I already built my pipeline kind of before I got licensed. In terms of, I'm just more of a tap into my network, referral based kind of realtor, versus obviously going the digital marketing side or the social media side. So for me at Right at Home, we have like a very basic training, like very, very bare bones training program that we have to go through. And what I found myself was just creating a good relationship with your branch managers, your broker of records, getting as much, touch points there, and also joining as many discussion groups, and honestly reading what's happening, learning how people are dealing with complex issues. That was the biggest thing for me too. A lot of the times I picked up a lot of those situations and actually like used it in real life, right? So for me, it was definitely different, I think, from the, I guess, average new realtor who maybe might join a team. And I think joining a team when you're new and you have no pipeline is probably the way to go. It just, you get in there and you're kind of just like an employee, right? You're working for someone or with someone. They're guiding you, mentoring you along every single transaction, hopefully.
Does that happen?
Going out. I mean, I do know some realtors who joined some teams where, yes, like
some teams do it. Yeah. No brokerages though. There's no brokerages will do that.
No.
I want to sort of reinforce what you're saying. So like, even though, Right at Home is, known as this, it's really not that much different from most brokerages. Like, even the big brokerages, the training out there is not, if you want really good training, you need to be with a team, and like only like 1% of teams, I think, would even have proper training. I think as an agent, you have to look for it yourself. You have to pay for it. You have to go to conferences. You have to look outside of your company to be able to get proper training.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to seek that knowledge. You have to learn it. You have to research it.
You can't think like
that.
I'm a part of their brokerage. They're going to make sure that I do everything properly.
It's their problem. That's it. You got to seek it out. You got to want to learn how to do this properly. And most people, you know what they're doing? They're looking for the lowest fucking fees at the beginning because they're so broke already. They don't have money to do it properly. No, but it's really a flawed system. Right?
Yeah.
Like, TK, your brokerage has wonderful facilities, and I think they put a lot of investment into training. I know your team definitely is like probably top in the world for training, but like the facility that they have, and I didn't even see it since it was upgraded. They put money into training, but
there's like 1,000 agents in the company. So
what's the difference? It doesn't matter. Even smaller would probably be easier.
Right at Home has the most agents.
Right?
Yeah,
Right at Home is the most agents.
Of course they do.
They got nice offices, actually. Right at Home's got really nice offices.
But they're the cheapest fees, right?
The cheapest
fees, they have a lot of agents.
Perfect problem.
It's a model.
Right?
It's a model.
It's the perfect problem.
Honestly, it's the best business model.
Yeah.
For people like you. So hold on a sec. How does a young girl like you with no experience in real estate have a pipeline when you don't even have a license? Where did the pipeline come from?
You just start networking. That's all it is, right? And for me, the biggest thing
Like
is,
while you were getting your license, you were like, I'm going to get my license. I better start my network.
well, I've always had a pretty big network, I would say. And networking has always been in, kind of in my profession, right? For anything, right? It's business. Like if you want to do business in anything, something entrepreneurial, whatever, you just have to have, you keep networking. Like you never stop networking ever.
But
If
you
you're an
didn't
entrepreneur.
own the
But
accounting
Daryl,
firm.
she's smart.
Like
No,
you
I
were
didn't,
working
but
as
people have always said Kaitlyn's smart. She's
Right.
CPA.
Yeah.
Like, she's
Talk to her.
reliable. Oh, she's a
Right.
real estate agent. Geez,
Right.
that's the type of real estate agent that I would want.
That's my value
If you're an
prop, right?
idiot and you're out there and you get your real estate license,
doing
you'll have
taxes
a
on
huge
the
pipeline.
side for people, doing some taxes
No,
on the
no,
side,
no,
building
I
a
don't have time for
clientele.
that.
No, okay.
I mean,
But
I've been asked many times, but I don't have time for that.
But you can give at least you can give people direction, right? Because there's going to
Sure.
be
I can
tax
give,
implications,
I
right?
like,
Tax
I will
advice,
never give
yeah.
advice. Yeah, I don't want to give advice per
No
se,
advice.
but guidance is what you call
Guidance,
it,
not
right?
advice.
Yes, I don't want to give exactly because everyone's situation is different without seeing the numbers. I can't give them professional advice, but that's my value prop. It's just on day one, I meet someone and I give them my background, obviously, and when I say those letters, CPA, CA, whatever, it's like the trust is there on day one.
Boom.
So that's
Look at that. So, but
there was a guy. So there was
what
a guy.
tough route though, like to get that, right? Compared to all these
Right.
other realtors. It's like you have
For
to
sure.
actually go to school and do a bunch of work. And CPA is no easy feat. Like
No,
that's
it was
that's serious.
Yeah.
There was a guy. So I was at a really small brokerage, right? And so I was always at the top of the brokerage because it wasn't a big office. And then one year, I think it was like 2013, maybe 14, this guy came in and he called himself Dr. Sold. And so because he had the doctor that year, he beat me. And I was like, what the heck? He ended up going to another brokerage afterwards. But I was always like, man, if I only had some more letters in my name, I could be as successcul as him. So
you should grow a mohawk and put Mr. in front of your name, and you could be like Mr. TK.
Mr. TK.
Mr. TK. Fool. We're gonna sell your house.
It definitely stands out. If you've got some other designation, I think the common theme or misconception, or maybe it's total reality, is that people who end up in real estate, it was because they weren't able to be successful in anything else. But if you had to go down that road and get your certification, and then you come into real estate, it's trustworthy and leverage that and make sure that people understand. And I think that there's pre-con for sure. There's major tax obstacles, and people need to know them, and agents don't know them.
Exactly. Yeah. Lots of good pivots though. Like I've met engineers turn realtors, bankers turn realtors, lawyers turn realtors. I think on Twitter there was a thread on a doctor turn realtor. That one got a lot of attention.
This Dr. Sold guy, by the way, not to throw him under the bus, but he had a PhD in like some random stuff.
Yeah,
it was no MD, but whatever. He can call himself
culinary degree, doctorate.
I'll get him back one day, Daryl.
You better, TK.
You probably already have.
I think less of you.
No worries. So
harsh.
Jesus.
So we have a lot of things going on right now, Kaitlyn. So interest rates. So we've got the last interest rate was a pause, right?
Yeah.
So is that even a thing still?
We've had a little bit of resurgence in the market right now. There's no areas now that are not being affected, but there's more buyers out there. There's not that many listings. 50 offers I saw in a place this week. Like things are out there right now that are happening. What do you think is going to happen with interest rates for like the next few announcements?
Tough, I know. I read the Deloitte just put out a report last week that by Q3 they're expecting rates to be cut, and I was like, that's pretty aggressive. Like that would be a bullish, aggressive scenario.
That would be so good.
It's Deloitte though holds a lot of weight with that.
The fuck does Deloitte know about interest rates and which way they're going? Who the hell cares? So funny. We all read all these articles.
Do you think that there's
okay, look, like, first of all, none of us are economists, and even if economy, everything, like, we can't predict what's going to happen, but I was going into this year thinking it would be pretty bearish, even throughout spring. Obviously been proven wrong. Like, like, I have a couple clients shopping now in spring, and it's been, obviously my expectation has been totally surpassed. I think I would say status quo baseline base case would probably be flat after spring. Maybe a little bit of a blip in fall, and then maybe flat or slightly down in terms of
about markets.
prices.
You're talking
or
about
rates?
the market or rates? Yeah. She's
Oh,
talking
I'm just talking
markets.
about real estate pricing,
Prices
yeah.
and stuff. Okay.
Because I think rates, yeah, I don't know, like with the Fed
Rates don't
increase,
seem
like,
to fucking matter, do they? It's like they're raising rates like
that's
drunken
what I was gonna
sailors,
say.
and
Do rates,
prices are
yeah,
up, and everybody's like, I'll take 3 again. Give me 3. I'll
yeah,
take all of them.
yeah. Do rates even matter?
This is
Exactly.
crazy.
I mean, we see all the articles of people hurting, but then we're not seeing that. I would say personally on the inventory level, you don't see that distress. In the assignment market in the last, prior to January, it was tough. There were probably no assignment sales. Then all of a sudden, when the spring came up, assignments were selling. Maybe not for a profit, but people were getting out of there at break even probably, or with a little bit of profit. But and now it's I saw one assignment sale that was selling 100K under original price, and I was like, damn, like maybe that's a deal, right? And
Maybe that's a deal. Maybe though.
Freehold.
Isn't that crazy that it's maybe? You can't
Condo,
tell.
100,000 under.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
they must have just bought it though, like last year or something.
Yeah, they bought in 21 exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly
so
that.
it's not
Oops.
closing anytime soon. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a
they
bad
bought
idea.
it remaining inventory, and obviously they can't close.
Remaining inventory.
So,
Remaining.
yeah.
Who the hell did they buy that with? Was that with you?
I mean, things happen, right? Like, what if something in your family happened, right? And
I guess, yeah, there's a lot of that happening. Like, I don't feel like we heard stories of that happening before.
Agreed.
Right.
And people have been pretty firm on their pricing. Like, I haven't seen that many distress or real fire sales out there. Obviously in the resale market, we see some things in some markets, but then in others, you see it quite opposite, right?
I think,
but demand is there.
Yeah, I think the
there.
market is bailing people out. So recently, I've had 2 clients get third mortgages.
Wow.
In
We
order
just talked
to be
about
able,
that.
yeah, but in order to be able to sell their property. So they had a little bit of equity left. They got all sorts of things happening. And so they're able to borrow that last little bit of equity in order to be able to, get it on the market and get it sold. And the market's going to bail them out. They're going to be okay. So
like if they do it now, like now you have to sell.
Well, they have
now.
no choice. It's like the terms of their loan and all that. But
no, but this is the time, right? Like this is the time. Yeah. This is a weird, crazy time. If you're thinking about selling, like there's a blip. We don't know how. Like, is this going to last? This
may not last long.
Sense. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you 2 think about the rest of this year? I'm curious. Through summer
TK,
and then fall.
What do you think? You want me to go? You want positive?
I was in the same boat as you. I was super
Oh.
bearish because of all these people that are coming to me who are like underwater, and I've got all these mortgage problems, and like I'm dealing with power sales receivers. Like it's been crazy. It seems like the only clients that I have right now are struggling, which is not true, but it just feels that way. But I'm definitely seeing a lot of pent up demand. So there's just a ton of buyers coming. So I think that right now we're going to see prices rise this spring excessively, to the point where we're going to be like, oh my God, this again. And there's going to be a few people who make poor decisions based on how much they're paying for the property. And then I think that the ball eventually has to drop. I mean, eventually there has to be a day of reckoning. Is it going to come this year? I don't know. Know, but it's gotta come. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Maybe it's going to take a while. Maybe Doug Ford's got to build all these houses, and then we're going to just have way too many houses for people, and this whole sort of housing supply issue is not a factor anymore. I don't know. We don't have enough houses for people.
We definitely don't have enough houses for people, but that's a long-term solution.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure. But like, you want to know what I think?
Yeah, of course.
So I think that definitely next month they're going to pause again. They're not going to do anything for sure with rates. Okay. And what we see right now is going to definitely continue for a few more months. But I also truly believe that sometime soon, something major out of left field is going to come, and it will not be a good thing. But I do have a feeling that all this stuff will be bullish for inflationary type assets. So real estate will probably go bananas. And like if the last, so like we all made predictions a couple of years ago that the market was going to tank, right? Because of what was going on in the world. And we saw the exact opposite. And we have the entire world in a housing crisis, I guess, except for China. They're way overbuilt, but everyone else has a crazy housing crisis. So like, it doesn't matter where you move right now. It's not like there's a cheap place to move that's worth moving to, right? So I don't, like, I can't see how Canada could lower rates anytime soon. That sounds like it would be disastrous for the real estate market, like in a good way, because the market will take off, but not in a good way for the market, right? But something with currency and something with countries, something major is going to come down the pipe soon. Major, that's going to like, it's going to rock the world, but real estate will probably be a very safe thing to have money in.
Mm-hmm.
I think prices are going to go crazy, but I think it's going to get weird soon. Like really, 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 really weird.
This year is already weird.
Think about even March, like even just March, what's happened, like two of the biggest bank failures of all time in a week. Okay. You have one of the biggest banks in Europe gone. You have another gigantic bank on the verge gone. And while all this is happening with the banks, actually, in the ones that we know are disappearing, all the other ones are borrowing from this like special fund, and all these credit default swaps, which like, I don't even know why they're in existence, went through the frickin' roof like crazy because all these banks are in super, super duper trouble. Super, super duper trouble. And when banks are in trouble, there's no way it doesn't affect the Canadian real estate market. Right? Because there's a saying like when what do they say? When the state sneezes, Canada catches a cold, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have more than a sneeze over there soon. Right? It's a disaster. Anyways.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
We're going to find
Only
out
time will tell. Yeah.
in real time.
I wanted to leave some time here, Kaitlyn, just to give us a little bit of a shameless plug. Where can people find you? What's the best place to contact you, and just shout out all your social media stuff if you can.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so my Instagram, KaitlynLee.realestate, TikTok, Kaylee Realty. You can find my website, Kaitlyn Lee Real Estate, or just search my name and call me up. I'm the old school kind of way.
She accepts phone calls.
Oh my
gosh. Yeah, phone calls. Who does that anymore, right?
What is going on?
Some realtors, they will not pick up the phone no matter how many times I call them.
No, you have to book a call.
You have to book a call.
Oh yeah, I have that.
Text them tomorrow 2 p.m. I'm going to call you. Be there.
Yeah.
But this is how it is now. It's crazy. People are like, when can you have a call? Why don't you just fucking call me?
Yeah, just
I'm sitting here. I'm not doing anything. Yeah. Call me now. Now it's perfect.
I do that sometimes. Yeah.
Guilty.
Cool. Yeah. Crazy. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on the show today, Kaitlyn. We had a great
thanks
talk.
for having me.
I think you got a bright future ahead of you. I think that real estate's definitely up your alley, and that you're going to do really well. And hopefully, me and you can do a deal together. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, we'll keep in touch. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Kaitlyn.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Darryl. Thanks, TK. Bye.